talking about it. I can't stop checking out the pages. I love it when it says got that new when I get the emails.
Yeah. I got that, but I also I had an AppSumo problem. Hi, my name is Stacy. I'm addicted to AppSumo.
Yeah.
And
I'm turning on the channels now. So
all right.
I got 3 on so far. So I'm letting you know. But yes.
Some people get the pre-show.
Yes. This is the AppSumo Addiction Anonymous.
Yeah.
So
you know, if you own more software than you use.
Yes.
And I actually have old AppSumo things for sale to people. They're perfectly good. I just don't need them anymore because I now own an all-in-one that does a lot of it in one place.
Yeah. Did you see GrooveFunnels?
Yeah, I own a copy of GrooveFunnels. I own a copy of InfluencerSoft, and I was on Kartra, and now I own and am in love with a white label product that I white labeled called Tech Foundation Pro.
Okay.
And everything in one place. Your email, your funnels, your membership area, your calendaring, your communication from 5 different places. People communicate with you and it goes into one place in your CRM. Tasking, it does almost all of it. Almost everything.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stacy, I have clicked all of my buttons. We are live on 8 channels now.
So the pre-show's over.
For everybody who's just now seeing this, we were just talking about our tech addiction and AppSumo addictions and how much we love all of it.
All of every bit of all the things.
Yes.
The shiny new.
Yes. That's like the best email subject line for me. Got that new from AppSumo.
Guaranteed to look at it.
Yes. So the best thing I think I got from AppSumo, I'm gonna say, is Book Like a Boss. I got it 4 years ago. If I was patient, I don't think I would have needed anything else. They're still adding stuff to this day. I can use it for events. I love it. It's a scheduler also. I can embed it. I can add YouTube clips. It's amazing.
It's one of the good ones that they have. I wish they didn't call it shortcut and call it Blab though, because about 6 years ago there was a platform called blab.im. May it rest in peace. It was basically everybody's kind of like flipping out over Clubhouse now, and basically Blab was a video version of Clubhouse at the time. And the other thing that happened that was magical is there were quite a few early adopter people who were also entrepreneurs who kind of got gravitated to the platform, and we formed this community, this amazing community that literally there are people I just talked to. I just did a show yesterday with RJ Redden. I met RJ on Blab. There are people that I met there that I still do business with. And the way it worked, that magic that Clubhouse has, it had that community magic. And when you can combine technology and human and get community out of that, then you have a magical recipe on any piece of technology. And so, but Book Like a Boss, also when it came out, it was and it is a great scheduler. I
love that. I can make appointments for any little thing and send that out.
Yeah.
But you know what, Stacy, I forgot to ask you to tell the good people about yourself. Introduce yourself for everyone. I'm talking to you.
We just jumped right in, right?
Yeah. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
My name's Stacy Braiuca, and I am a 25-year therapist and a 40-year geek girl who combined those, and people jokingly call me a technology therapist, but really I am a productivity and technology strategist. And I help people build their technology foundations with either building blocks from places they have, from great buys, like places like AppSumo, or with what they already have. And we, make sure they have all the pieces and parts to have a solid technology foundation under them, so that they can step up on top of that technology foundation like a stage and do their thing. Because I know that most people get frustrated with technology and they don't know how to use it. They don't have time. They don't want to find that toggle switch, as Mark Gibson calls it. Or he calls his computer hell. He loves the computer, but he calls it hell. I know things like that. And so Done For You Concierge, we take care of that technology foundation for you so you can step up on the stage and do your thing.
Is there a plan where I can give you my AppSumo list and you can tell me the best way I can use all of them together?
There is I'm actually working on I do a technology audits. So, if somebody wants to, you can get just a technology audit with me where I do just that. Let's talk through all of the pieces of software you have. Let's find out where the Swiss, see if it looks like Swiss cheese, that you've got holes, or does it look like a bad string diagram where this hooks to this and this hooks to this, but this one doesn't hook to this one and doesn't hook to that one. And how do we find you a solution where things play nice together? You have the pieces and parts you need. It doesn't break, and it doesn't break as often, because software is going to break. I'm not going to lie. And then you can stand up on that stage. So we have technology audits. We also have a getting started package that comes with a tech audit, a marketing strategy audit from my colleague Paula, who does, oh my God, amazing marketing strategy. And then a 5-hour gift card, basically, because we do gift cards. You
nice. I've never
5-hour,
heard of that.
10-hour, and a 20-hour card that is technology VA. So you have your own technology VA. It's not like having just a VA who does little stuff for you. This is very specific to tech issues. And, you get a hold of us and I've got this tech issue. And we're like, okay, we need this, this, and this from you by this date so that we can get the thing fixed hopefully by this date. And we swipe your card. And if we only use 13 minutes on your card, then you've got whatever's left on it. And you keep swiping it till it's empty. Then you refill with a new one if you want. And we keep going. So
I like that.
The getting started package comes with your first card of, 5-hour card. And I think you have a link maybe for those. And if not, we'll find a link and put it in underneath here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because you've got to go and kind of do an inventory. Like you and I were kind of talking through our inventories from AppSumo, or do you have software you've purchased that's lifetime? I'm a big fan and of shiny object, but also I look at the shiny objects and evaluate them so that my clients don't get stuck with a shiny object that's just a shiny object that doesn't have any use, and that they put it on the shelf and it gets dull and it gets dull and it gets dull. I look at all of them for you so that then I can say, hey, these are great ones and they play nice together, or watch out for this one. It's not going to play nice with this one and this one. It might be good if that's all you're using, and, talk through those things.
Yeah. I definitely have some stuff that's daisy chained and just rigged together.
Mm-hmm.
I love it all, not using it all, but I'm glad I have it.
Yeah, because the lifetime prices and they do update the softwares and they put out some great new things.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great place to go shop.
That's my hangout spot.
It's also you also might use your paycheck. And
I try not to do that.
Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, I don't know where that came from. Actually,
So,
it's spring, and that's where that's come from. I'm starting to get the runny nose thing going on.
yeah. Like you step outside and you see that your whole yard is covered in yellow. You're like, ew, it's not like snow.
Or the gorgeous, we've got a lilac right outside my window, and it's beautiful, but it's like, I know that thing's probably shooting off pollen everywhere that is messing with me. So
Yeah. Well, tell us about your first event and how you got into hosting events for other people.
well, the first event I did was an online summit. The first event that I helped put together, a group of us that met in JVology, which I don't know who, your audience may be familiar with that group. A group of us met there, and we said, let's do an event together. So we put on the Empowered Women's Summit 2019 in November, had 30 speakers, 70 sessions. In fact, I believe the summit is still up. You can actually still purchase a ticket and watch it. So it's pre-COVID wellness. So now it's like classic, I guess. And that was really cool because learned a lot of things about event software, and it was just at the beginning of some of the event software had just come out on AppSumo, and we also, figured out how to, get a group of 6 people to gather 30 speakers to get 70 sessions and get everybody's all of the pieces and parts in the right place and all of the emails. And we learned a lot. Great material. There's actually still a Facebook group that came out of that that's still going today, of empowered women empowering others is the Facebook group, and people are still making connections on that group. Then I went on to, at the time, my company was called Done For You Summits, and that has now morphed into Done For You Concierge, that has a variety of services like we talked about. And we've done the backside of live events now since COVID. One of our services, Social Concierge Services, was born out of a need that somebody had for a live event. Colleague we both know, Jay Facette, got a hold of me and said, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, sure. And so I ran the backside. I ran the chat, dropped links, answered people's questions kind of as a help desk. And it's funny, that was last summer. And now I've noticed that a lot of people I've seen, and that's where our name Done For You Concierge came from. And therefore, then after that, I've seen a lot of people using the term concierge, which is so funny. I'm like, yeah, I remember when that phrase was born.
We call it a stream producer.
Yeah.
But I like concierge.
It depends on, this one very specifically is social concierge because it's helping with the engagement, but also being a help desk. A little bit of production, but the production part's in a way a slightly different piece,
Okay.
Producers working on the technical, the social concierge is working on the human.
Yeah,
really.
I understand.
Mm-hmm. In our world, in our world, but anyway, yeah.
Well, hopefully we are speaking to coaches, consultants, teachers, thought leaders, trainers. I'm trying to not convince them, but let them know that hosting a virtual summit is a good thing to do for their business.
Yeah. Anytime you can go live video. 6 years ago when some of that started, it was still really new. Remember I don't know if you can remember the first time you saw a Facebook live video and were like, wow, that person, they're live from their phone, and now that's like, not only are Facebook Lives and YouTube live videos a common thing, but now it's, oh, a Zoom call. Yeah, okay, I know what that is. And so more people know what the pieces and parts are. So if more people know what those pieces and parts are, your business, if you use those things, if you use live video and streaming and an event, it's people are comfortable with that, they're used to it, but you're going to attract a global audience. Whereas if you were doing it, let's say you just had an in-person event, you're going to have maybe either a local audience or the people who could afford to travel.
Yeah.
If the pandemic's taught us anything, it is that these tools and these technology tools that have actually been around can be used for good. But it also has taught us that, like right now, I can't actually touch you. And we crave real deep human interaction.
Yeah.
And that how important that deep human interaction is.
Yeah.
And so in my world, technology helps you save time so that you have time for that human interaction.
Yeah.
And so both of those things are important for your business.
Yes.
Or sometimes, for your career development if you're a teacher.
Yeah. Like sometimes the chatbots are nice, but it's always nice to talk to a real person.
Chatbots are for frequently asked questions to get people immediate information.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Wikipedia of you and your business. It's so people can get quick answers to particular information and that you can walk them through. Chatbot can be an amazing experience. It can be very engaging, but nothing replaces, and it shouldn't replace a human. What it should do is augment what the human can do. If it frees you up so that then you can spend an hour on a call with somebody really diving deep and being vulnerable, that's what the technology needs to do.
Yeah.
And please excuse my poor, one of my dogs thinks he is being abused because he's in his room.
Yeah, I have a air conditioner guy here who's knocking at my door, but I'm not getting up yet.
So, I don't know if you can hear Mr. Whiny in there.
Just a little bit. I'm saying that just in case you hear the knocking at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, he thinks he's abused. He thinks he's being abused. Please, he is in a very comfortable kennel with a nice padded bottom, and he has water, and he's in there because his brother is in here with me, and then we'll switch. I have to keep them apart because they as they hit their teenage years, they started fighting. And when you have animals, you can't just get rid of one. So we do give them the best lives they have, but they just can't play in the same room together, which is kind of sad, but it's, so, and he's being extra this morning.
Like, why are you showing favoritism to him?
Yeah, it is, they're like children. They're like children. And now if I switch them though, the one that's in here with me would be in there and he'd be quiet as a mouse.
Oh,
he would not be crying at all. In fact, if you hear him crying, it's because then he has to go out and go to the bathroom. That's the only time he'll cry.
Okay.
He's sitting literally right behind me. Sorry.
So on AppSumo, there was a product called Crisp. Starts with a K. Huh? It's supposed to be a sound cancellation thing. It will only take the sound from your mic.
Right.
I have it, but I can't get it to work right now.
Is it not playing nice with your newer software that does your live streaming?
It stopped a while ago. So I'm guessing, I'm assuming I need to what is it called when you take away a program and then put it back on?
Just uninstall and install it again.
Yes.
Yeah, either uninstall or install it again. Make sure it has all the updates it needs. 2, take it off, put it back on, which is, and what I would do is take it off, reboot your system, then put it back on.
Okay.
That way, in case there's any vestiges of the taking it off that have to go through a reboot cycle.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like the reboot cycle is kind of like a final clean, and then turn it back on. You've got a fresh system, put it back on. And yeah, I have the same app. I just have not, I was just looking, it's not on right now either. And I think it's because I either took it off or turned it off. I didn't, because I don't want it on all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but yes, it is actually a really good kind of noise canceling app.
Yeah. Sometimes you need it, like if you're setting an alarm, if you're doing like a free consultation call and you tell the person that you have like 30 minutes to talk, and because you got a call right after and you need an alarm to go off to get them off the phone. Yeah. Like, sorry, our time's up. That's the bell.
Yeah. And then sometimes it's because you have an animal that thinks he's
Uh-oh.
One moment.
I thought you were froze, or I'm froze.
It did say my internet connection is now, my internet connection's going crazy on me.
Oh.
No, I'm should be good.
Hooray. So what was your favorite time hosting an event for another person, or was that with Jason? So I can't say his last name. Jay.
I actually, that very first event I did for Jay was really cool, just because it was proof of concept. It was, and he asked me to just help monitor the chat, and I couldn't just help monitor the chat. I had to do, more than that. And, so I created graphics and put them in the Facebook group, and then dropped links got people from the chat over to the Facebook group, and kind of created a whole thing. So it was like I was birthing a service at the same time that I was doing the thing. And it also, I had some realizations about myself during that as well, realizing that the way I provide that social concierge service is uniquely because of my background as a therapist and my background as a geek girl. And I realized, wait, now in order to replicate this, I have to figure out how to make a mini me. To truly replicate that service, I have to create a mini me out of it. I have to either find somebody else who's a therapist and a geek, or I have to find somebody who's a geek who's very good at moderating. It helped me hone in on why, but I was also in my element. I loved, I was able to provide help to people about technology, and at my core, that's, how do you use technology to be more human? That's my core.
It's nice. That should be on a t-shirt. Like, if you have swag, that should definitely be on a t-shirt. So how do you,
my new swag manager? Okay, no.
So do you train other people to do this, or do you just train VAs for yourself? Do you train VAs for other people to do what you do so they can have staff?
That has not been put in place yet, but again, now we have swag, and now I have, there's the potentially a new service down the road.
Yeah,
it could be a certified social concierge, certified social concierge assistant. Would that be it? There you go, certified social concierge assistant. Yeah.
So like your local colleges or your local tech schools, right before they end for summer or let out for summer, ask if they go to their classes or their teachers or whatever. I'm not sure if they're open yet, but ask if they want to take your VA class on social concierge.
I'm going to have to figure out what that class is going to look like. Yeah, I have to put, although speaking of shiny objects, so, you know, the squirrel story with squirrels and shiny objects, and the squirrel's part of my branding, actually. I don't have they're sitting on top of my computer, or I would get them. I have 2 little squirrels that I bring on video sometimes. We see those shiny objects and we collect them and we hoard them. And sometimes, you know, whether it's a new class or a new piece of software or a new idea. And we have, you know, if you've seen an episode of Hoarders of these full houses, it doesn't matter whether it's digital brain or physical, entrepreneurs hoard those shiny objects, and we may or may not be using them.
Yeah.
The good part of it is we save, you know, squirrels save for their nuts for fall, and they plan ahead, and they, you know, those things. And so we're like, this is a lifetime deal. It's an investment for my future. But you need to make sure and plan which pieces from AppSumo do you have, and do they fit together? Which courses do you have, and do they fit together? Which pieces of your business are you working on, and does that go toward your overall goal?
Yeah.
And that's where I actually myself just did the deep dive session, the marketing deep dive session I was telling you guys about. I actually just did one myself with my colleague Paula yesterday. And so it wasn't, it was my 3rd or 4th deep dive with her. And every time I do one, it hones in even more on what my business needs to do. Now, being a virtual social concierge is a certified social concierge VA is a great idea, but I have to put it in a different place in my business right now. I have to take that squirrel and put him on the shelf and go, okay, because you can't do, if you focus on all the little bits and pieces, you won't get the one bit and piece done.
Understand.
Which, dang, really? Because you want to do all of it yesterday, all of it yesterday, and be done. And because it's all cool.
I feel like you know me and that you can see me.
I see you, and I know that you provide your audience magical, lots of things. So like you provide the you have shiny objects all over the place for your audience, and that's not a bad thing. I
do wonder if it's too much sometimes. I do wonder if I'm overwhelming them, because as soon as I find something new about summits, it's like everybody needs to know about this. So
yeah, I do the same thing. So it's like you do need to know about the new. We've got to, and we're in a stage in history, and especially in technology, the technology and human interface. Zoom is just the beginning of that, people. Zoom being a household word is because of the pandemic, right?
Yes.
You know, there were those of us who played in the Zoom world long before that, but it's now become you know, 2 years ago, if I would have said to you, hey, go microwave this meal, and you would know what I was talking about. You know what a microwave is. It takes food and heats it up. It's a piece of tech that you use every day. You don't think about it. Some of us are old enough to remember the first microwave our family had, the first VCR our family had, the first computer our family had, and all sorts of things, you know, those dinosaurs of us. But, you know, and the internet itself, go Google that. When I was a kid, nobody would have said that, you know, so these things that are normal every day, and they've become normal every day for a variety of reasons. Zoom, I'm on a Zoom meeting. 2 years ago, people would have been a what? And now people are like, oh, okay, you're on a video meeting with somebody. Because of we've had to restructure our lives and how we use technology. And because of us trying to figure out how to make sure it's social distance and do things, whatever, but businesses also have learned how their overhead can change if their people are working from home. There are companies that are going, we're going to keep people working from home because they're still producing, and we have less overhead. We have to shift.
Yeah.
And as people shift that way and they come up with new ways of doing things, then there's going to be something else that becomes everyday language. And so there's always going to be the new, and the new is going to be some of that new tech and human interface new is going to be coming fast and furious at us because the creativity is coming. We have to be creative and innovative because of what we're living through. And because of that, the uses of tech are just they're going to start blowing up because people finally are understanding how to adopt that kind of thing into their life.
Yeah.
So it's moving fast anyway. So I don't know if you're overloading so much as you're sifting through all that noise and bringing people, hey, this one's not only new, but this is what's good about this one.
Yeah.
This is, and that's important. People like you and I, we need to sift through all the new and go, okay, this one right here, this is a gem. This is a diamond in the midst of the sand that's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bit bigger. It's got facets on it, so it bounces the light off. It's made of crushed carbon, so it's, strong. We find the diamonds in the sand, and that's what we really bring out to our peoples.
You make me feel better about it.
Did I say therapist?
Yeah. I used to work with freelance graphic designers. I was trying to help them move from being a freelancer to a business owner. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them would tell me that being a business owner is too hard, because I would give them a to-do list and it was like right up front. And someone had to tell me I had to give them one thing at a time, like little breadcrumbs. But it took me a minute to get that. It took a good many years for somebody to say, stop, not everything at once, just one thing at a time. So,
entrepreneurs are like 2-year-olds. You have to give them small pieces of information, directions. And now I will say that I did not coin that phrase. That phrase is actually from my colleague Paula, that entrepreneurs are like 2-year-olds. They're the same thing. We like the word no, and we stamp our feet and we get upset, but we also are curious and excitable, and there's lots of good things about it. I don't
like the word no. I want to tell you something. I want you to believe me as soon as I tell you.
Not gonna work. I'm gonna go, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
Just give it to me. Just give it to me. And if somebody just gives something to you, it may or may not have the value that it needs to have with it ascribed in your mind. And you've got to ascribe value to something so that you don't just put it up on the shelf. You actually are using it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Doing
freelance graphic design myself, I used to work for a lot of restaurants, and I used to trade my skills for food. And my husband would say, how much are those Greek nachos? And I was like, they're $7. He's like, and you want to do graphic design for $7? I was like, no. He's like, well then. I was like,
even though you said Greek nachos, those probably were good.
They were very good. They were made with wonton chips. So yeah, they're air fried. Yeah. So amazing.
Yeah. You didn't want to do the graphic design for $7, but you wanted the nachos for sure.
I did. I really did. And that's why I did so much work for nachos.
And, when there's a fine line between building a portfolio and starting out. And then there's other things like you do want to give people value before they pay for you. You want them to see a little bit behind the curtain so they can see what they might get. But you don't want to give away the farm and give them everything either.
Yeah. Well, for me, my work represents my name. And if you see my work out there, it's like you see me. And I can't put out anything bad because my perception is your perception would be Erica does crappy work. And I can't have that.
Right. Right. And you don't, because the graphic behind you is awesome. I love the balance in it. And it has your sparklies in it.
I love sparkly. No, yellow and gray is supposed to be the Pantone colors of the year, so I had to use it. They're also my wedding colors.
Yellow and gray. And that's not a usual combination for wedding colors. But classy. but classy. It evokes classy, but it also evokes bright, sunshiny, which so fits your personality.
Woohoo!
But the other thing, when I'm looking at it, it also is almost like, when I was talking about gems earlier, you've got the little white diamonds, you've got the gold, and you've got the silver. And so it's kind of like royalty too, classy
I'm a big
royalty.
believer in color theory for being a graphic designer. So yeah.
I know nothing about color theory. I was talking out of my gut. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't play one on TV, but I do play in Canva.
I like Canva. This was made in Canva. My ad design teacher says people have preconceived notions of what colors mean. So when you're designing something, you should know what people think colors mean. So yellow for happiness, gray is for, well, it's almost, because they say black is done and gray is, I can get it there, but I don't really care for it. I can do it, but it's okay if it's not me finishing it. So I am trying to let go of some things. I'm trying to do more work, trying to also let pieces go and let other people help me. It's like
that part's hard.
Yes,
that's a hard part of the job. But I guarantee the three best things I did last year. One was go on the marketer's cruise. Before the pandemic, thank God. 2 was to do a deep dive session with my colleague Paula, because it really honed in and focused my year. So I had a batch of new joint venture partners I'd made some great relationships with in the Caribbean. I did a deep dive with Paula. And then the next thing I did that really started the ball moving was started letting things go and hiring other people to do. And once I started, not just, I want to trade something, but yes, I need this done. I can't do this part myself, or I can't do it as good as well. I'm going to hire somebody to do it. And once I started doing that, I had more time to do my stuff. And it's just a continual, it's hard letting go of that money to do, but you get way more than the money worth. Yeah. You get to take your business to the next level.
For me, it's not really letting go of money, it's letting you borrow my name. Like, can I really trust you with my name?
You're right.
If I hire you, you're going to represent me. Are you going to be a good representation of me?
You do have to monitor what somebody does with your name. I mean, no doubt there you have to, and that was, let me be clear. Actually, last year wasn't the first time I had hired somebody. I had been burnt by people not representing my name quite where I wanted to, or they said they were going to do something. I paid them a very large amount of money and they didn't do anything.
Had that happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of those pieces and parts are part of the entrepreneur's journey. just had a discussion with a colleague the other day, a local business person who's she's kind of needing to do some restructuring. And we talked about all of this very specifically of you need to have a strategy and a plan. And yes, we've all put money into things that didn't work out. But I think what that teaches us is what are the things we really, really need to do for our business? What are those really worth, and how to find somebody who is going to represent our name well, or provide value, or really, how to vet that new person or the new piece of software or the new whatever, how to vet them better.
Yeah.
So
that will be a great lesson.
And I think, well, we learn those things along the way. I think all of us have a trail of old programs we've bought, coaches we've hired, software we've purchased, various things like that we have, quote unquote, wasted money on. And yes, it's wasted money to an extent, but you have to think about what are the lessons you learned from it. And those play into the value of that money that you laid down at the time. You were paying for an education of error.
Yeah.
You paid, that's the money you paid in as your education of error. And I don't think I've ever met an entrepreneur who didn't have that trail of stuff behind them and a trail of money behind them that they left, but that then now they make very strategic, specific decisions.
Yeah.
Now, if you're still throwing money out that way, my best advice to you is to carefully vet a good coach.
Yeah.
Get a good coach, or to do as something like the deep dive session I've talked about. Find somebody who has a good thing like that to help you really hone in on what you're doing.
Yeah.
People are going to think that I am an animal abuser. Can you hear that?
Yes.
I feel so bad. And so I'm telling you, folks, he's just like a 2-year-old that got sent to his room. That's what's going on here. He got sent to his room and he thinks he's being abused, and he isn't.
He's background music.
Yeah, I'm a background music. And
so,
yeah, I don't think I would have. I'm a hermit I have become more of a hermit in my life, but if it weren't for my boys, for my dogs, I don't know if I'd be such a good hermit. They provide my, there's somebody else in the house but me interaction, and animals they're just healing things. Animals are so healing to us. They don't usually talk back.
I don't know about that. Some of them do.
Well, obviously, yeah, right. They do provide unconditional love when they're not, yelping because they are stuck in their room.
I want to ask you, what came first for you? Joint venture partners or virtual assistants?
Oh my God, I love that question. You need to ask that one to everybody. But which came first, joint venture partners or virtual assistants? Definitely joint venture partners. And I'll say one of the reasons for that, now, not that I didn't invest in virtual assistants who were not.
Oh no, either you're froze or I'm froze.
It did freeze for a minute. You froze.
Well, it'll take a second if
it'll be
I'm
back.
Froze. Well, maybe a minute, not a second.
The other tip, if you freeze on a Zoom video, is to stop your video and start your video again. And that sometimes will unstick. Joint venture, I'm going to say joint venture partners came first in my world because the first event I ever went to, and this was back, live and in person, was JVology. So that was the first event I went to was there we go.
You're
so
back,
I kept going even though you were gone. So joint ventures are virtual assistants. The first live event I went to, and this was back when we could come be in live events in person, was in Calgary, and it was JVology Live. And so I started my joint venture journey building relationships first. And I spent probably a good year working on relationships first before I started then figuring out, okay, now I know what I need. I've got some relationships started being built. Now I need to add a virtual assistant to do some of the things, take some things off my plate so that I can dive deeper with my joint venture partners. And, and that has been continued on its own journey. I would say that I added contracted staff that caused us to be able to add more services. Then more services, and the more I was also able to spend more time with the joint venture partners. And now we're getting ready to actually launch some really cool joint venture things where our partner has a particular thing they're promoting, and we're packaging a service together with them.
I like that.
And so we're taking it another step deeper. It's not just, hey, let's promote each other. It's, okay, we're creating services that go with their service and packaging them together so that, and I see that as kind of a next step up in that journey. Yeah. And that's because of hiring some, people to be able to provide the services. So I think you've got to have both, but, mine just happened to come first. The joint venture partners happened to come first.
When you mentioned the time cards, I can definitely see giving that away at an event for my events, because that's cool. Mm-hmm. And who doesn't need tech support sometimes?
Yeah. And that what we've started doing now is putting packages together so that you get your first card along with a couple other services, and that you pay for all of it in a bundle, so that you get more value all together. Mm-hmm. And by bundling it, then we're able to offer our joint venture partner an affiliate commission on that package.
Yeah, I like that. So you spent a year building relationships with your joint venture partners. I've always been told there's a fine line between business and friendship. How do you know?
I would say there probably is, but I'm going to actually say that it's two different things. It's almost like it's like a Venn diagram, and our friend Jay, he's so, that's his thing, is his Venn diagrams, is you've got friend in one bubble and you've got business in another. And where they cross is your joint venture partner area, because you have to have the relationship. And to me, it's not that you're not friends, because you have to have that vulnerable, close relationship to be able to be win-win, win for their customers, win for them, and win for you.
Yeah.
You have to have that.
Folks they know, like, and trust.
And you have to, yeah. But then on the same token, I will say that it also has to be business, in that you can't just give somebody something for free just because they're your, my example, my best friend, who was my best friend long before we did business together, she has services from Done For You Concierge and Braiuca Enterprises. She has to pay for those just the same as anybody else, because that's business and this is our friendship. Now, is she going to support my business all over the place because we're friends? Oh, heck yeah. And vice versa. I pimp her gluten-free bakery out all the time, the same way. But we separate out our we know which part's business and we know which part's friendship. She has a gluten-free bakery. Do I get free goodies all the time? No, I have to pay for my goodies, because that's her business income, and so now that's not to say that if she calls me with a tech problem, I'm not going to charge her for every time I do a tech problem. I'm not going to say she doesn't get some free, and that I'm not going to say she hasn't shown up at my house with a peanut butter cupcake or something here and there. So, I'm not saying that I haven't gotten free stuff or that she hasn't, but that on the whole, as a rule, business is separate from the friendship.
Yeah.
Because we want to support each other.
Yeah.
It's because I want her business to thrive.
Yeah.
And because I want, our relationship is just as important.
Yeah. For me,
as a human relationship.
Yeah. For me, I don't have a problem giving away information. It's just when you ask me to do stuff, that's when I want to charge for it. My husband says the information is valuable. If they took
the information is valuable. The information is incredibly valuable. And you can't give all the solutions away, because you have spent blood, sweat, tears, time, and stress learning how that information goes together in your head. So let's say
down so many rabbit holes.
Yeah, let's say you were a brain surgeon and you spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of late nights studying, a lot of whatever to learn how to do that. And you can't just then, or you could teach somebody else how to do it, I guess. But why would you teach them how to do that for free when you didn't get it for free?
Yeah.
Now you could tell them why brain surgery is important to them, or you could tell them, you could explain what surgery you're doing on someone.
Yeah. Well, it's coming up on it's 10:53 now. Yes. So I guess we got to wrap up, and your dog wants your attention.
And I was going to say, and he wants my attention. He's going to get my attention. He's going to get let out of his room.
Yay.
As I switch them around. I have to do this dance to switch them around. Yes, I'm going to let him out of his room. No, I am not going to beat the child. He'll probably look up at me with his eyes and I'll go, you're my sweet boy. And I'm going to hug on him and love on him. That's how that'll work.
That's all he wants.
That's what he wants. And I'm happy to love on him. You can't not love on the babies. You can't.
So the link you gave me, I am going to put it in all the places that we stream today.
Yeah.
But tell everyone where they can best find you.
Almost any social media, anywhere, Stacy Braiuca, StacyBraiuca. And then Done For You Concierge. We're getting out there in the social media world. We're kind of getting ready to do some strategic posting and such. But if you find me, you found Done For You Concierge as well. Tech Foundation Pro, if you don't have a set of technology services, it's a great all-in-one package. So
okay, definitely thinking about using it for events. So that is brilliant to have that.
Yeah, they're to have an event, you want strong. And it really depends on what kind of event. I think all of our events have kind of morphed into, am I having a summit? Am I having an event? Am I having a challenge? They all require different little pieces of software, and each event looks different. So
yes. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, Stacy. I really do
Erica,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for putting up with my lovely baby dog and and for having me. We saw each other last week and I was like, I get to see you next week. We finally get to do the show.
That's exactly how I felt. Stacy's
so
here.
I love, you provide amazing value to your peoples and help them sift through that sand to find the diamonds. And that's incredibly valuable stuff.
I appreciate that, Stacy. Thank you. Oh.